If you have ongoing exposure to controlling people, it's a virtual certainty that you're going to experience blurry boundaries, which is why I've created the extensive online course called This Is Me, Establishing Boundaries with the Controllers in Your Life. There's a link below that will give you all of the details, and I hope that you would find it therapeutic. You want to know a surefire way to make a narcissist angry? Use the word needy. Let them know I see you as being a very needy kind of person. And they'll be thinking, what are you talking about? You can't call me needy, because they have to have their act together or give the impression that they do. They want to make sure that you understand that they're the gold standard, they're superior to you. And so if you come along and say, no, I see through you, you're just an insecure, needy person, they can't deal with it. And it's going to bring out their agitation pretty close to every time, as opposed to saying, good point, let's talk. They won't do that. One of the things that I would like to ask that narcissist is, if you're such an impressive and self-confident person, why do you have to hide so much of who you really are? Why do you have to live behind the veneer of this false self as you try to present yourself as someone who is beyond everyone else? And the answer is because there's so much of a feeling of inadequacy that they carry. There's a lot of chaos on the inside of themselves that they don't know what to do with, that they just simply think, I can't bring it out because it'll show me to be, human, and maybe even sometimes inadequate or inept or in need of help, and I don't want to do that, when in fact they actually are very needy. Now, you see, part of the problem that they carry is they're thinking, well, if I can just somehow show myself to be better than you, then that neediness somehow is not nearly as severe as it might otherwise appear to be. And that's just their lack of logic. What I want to do today is I want to focus on 9 of the hidden needs that narcissists have that they don't want you to see, but they're there as clear as day. And the reason it's necessary for you to understand this is because, again, they want you to think you're the problem and they're the standard bearer. But the more you're able to see through that veneer, then the less likely you're going to be to become ensnared by the manipulations that they also bring to you. So let's take a look at them one by one. Now, and by the way, the needs that we're talking about, they're needs that regular people can have too, but narcissists have such a cover-up that it becomes pathological and it goes to a far extreme that it doesn't really have to. Now, number one, what do they need? The narcissist says, I need your praise. I need to be deemed as attractive. I need to be deemed as better than most other individuals. And as a result, they'll only let you know the things about them that are rather superlative, and they want to be around the beautiful people, and they want to be around people that will kind of perhaps rub off on them and give them a good reputation. They have to have praise. They have to have your sense of adoration. They don't want to admit any kind of hidden insecurities that's really on the inside. A second hidden need that they have is they actually need heart connections. Now, the problem there is they don't know how to do heart connections. So what they do is instead they bring other individuals into their world seemingly in a connected kind of way, but it's more of a manipulation. If I can take your good reputation and bring it in and somehow attach it to me, then that makes me look good. Or if I can be known as somebody who is known as the person that's the smartest one in the room, or the answer giver, and then people just kind of come to me and say, "Oh, I'm so pleased to be in your presence." It's like, good, I win. But it's superficial. They don't want to go into self-disclosure, which is part of intimacy, and it's part of truly knowing one another. They want connections, but really what they're trying to do is borrow your good favor and your good reputation for their personal enhancement. A third need that they have is they need to be known. And when I say need to be known, it's like when they're in a room, they don't want to just necessarily be invisible. They really like it for somebody to say, now, there goes a smart person, or there goes somebody that you need to know, or there goes somebody who has their act together. And it's like, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better about myself now. And they want to be known in such a way where people think, oh, I wish I could be on your team. I wish I could gain your favor. It's like, yeah, a lot of people do. And so they have this craving to be an extra special kind of an individual that people really are kind of jealous of. Now, a fourth need that they have, and this is one that they won't admit. I mean, they won't admit any of these, but this one, number four, they need you to solve their anger problems. Have you ever noticed that when they feel agitated and irritable and frustrated, the first thing they do is they start putting pressure on you? Well, you need to do this, and you didn't do this correctly. You need to understand this, and why can't you do A instead of B, and then I'll feel a lot better. And so there's a lot of blaming, a lot of displacement, a lot of grousing and criticizing that they have. What they're basically implying or illustrating is, I don't have the coping skills from the inside out to figure out how I'm going to manage my frustrations. Therefore, I have to control you so that I can quit feeling dysregulated. That's what they're really saying. It's an illustration of their internal incompetence. They're very needy, but no way are they going to put it in those kind of words. A fifth need that they have, and that is, I need to project myself as being smarter than, better than, more attractive than. I need to project myself as being superior. They don't want their wounds to be known. They don't want their inadequacies to be known. If somebody zeroes in on some of their failures or miscalculations, they discount it real quickly. I have to be at the top of the stack. And you'll notice that one of the ways they can sometimes accomplish it, they can remind you how you are so much less than them. I mean, your opinions aren't any good, your decisions aren't any good, the people you hang out with are not as good as my folks. And so as a result, they have to have an inferior person so that they can be the superior person. I really have to project myself as being that top of the heap kind of a person. Now, a sixth need that they have is they need to be right in a very disproportionate kind of way. Now, obviously, you want to know what you believe and you want to know what makes sense to you. But narcissists take it to a far extreme. It's like, no, I am going to superimpose my correctness on you. You may have noticed that whenever they have an opinion, it needs to be everybody else's opinion too. Everybody else needs to join with them, or their belief system, or their preferences, or how to attack certain problems. They've got to be the one that says, if you're going to do life right, be an imitation of me. And they can't manage it when someone says, well, actually, I have what I think is right, and it doesn't match you. And the narcissist is going to take that as a rejection, as opposed to thinking, there are different ways to manage life. No, they've got to be right, and they have to be the only right person in the equation. Now, a seventh need that they have, and that is they need to have favored treatment. And when I say favored treatment, I mean it's always nice if somebody treats you really well, but it's an attitude of entitlement. Well, I know that there are, you slobs and idiots and average people out there that have your desires. But really, when I come along, I want everybody to know you need to bow to me, and you need to make sure that you understand you're in the presence of somebody who's pretty special. And so they want to have favored treatment. They want to have the favored position whenever they're in the presence of other individuals. They can't just be average and regular. Now, an eighth need that they have, and that is they need for you to think that they have excellent coping skills. Often they'll give unsolicited advice. Well, when something like that happened to me, here's what I did. Or I know that you didn't ask me, but let me tell you how you need to approach such and such. And as a result, they want to make sure that you understand if you're going to get along well in life, well, I'll just go ahead and tell you the whole story. And they of course, don't want to join you as a fellow human. They just want to show that they're the standard bearer and you have to filter your things through them. And as a result, then that makes sense. And of course, they're going to be agitated if you don't take their advice in a very direct kind of way. And then finally, number 9, and that is they need to be necessary. And when I say that, it's like, well, I really want people to be on my team, and they can't stand it when they're rejected. They can't stand it if someone says, well, fine, but I don't really need what you have. I have my own separate independence. They don't want you to be independent. They want to be in control, which is why they come on in such a coercive way. I have to be necessary. I have to be the final word. You see, down at the base of their personalities, and the reason they don't want you to know all of these hidden needs that they have is they fear rejection. They fear being judged. They fear being held accountable. They don't want to show that they're just regular like someone else. Somehow, in their minds, that diminishes their importance, which is why then that they become irritable and emotionally dysregulated whenever you come along and say, hey, look, we need to talk about some of these needs that you have. It's like, no, I don't have that, and you're not allowed to talk to me about that. You see, in order for them to be able to have their needs adequately addressed, they would need to be honest about both sides of who they are, their pluses and their minuses. They would need to say things like, well, sometimes I do feel troubled. It's like, not the way I'm going to say that. Or they may need to say, I'm hurting, or I have some emotional issues that sometimes leave me feeling confused, or I know that I can be defensive and I'd like to work with you on that. Let's see if we can create a better atmosphere there. Or there are times when I wind up working too hard to create a false impression. They can't go into that kind of space because, again, vulnerability means that they're equal to you, and they're not about to go into that kind of space. So they have to have this impression that they're far better than they actually are. My response whenever I encounter somebody that hides their neediness and they try to present themselves as somebody who's way more together than they really are is, hey, look, I'm willing to help you. I'm willing to join you in your effort to be honest and to be on the journey of growth. Would you work with me? And the narcissist is almost predictably going to say something to the extent of, I don't need your help, you're too stupid. My response to that is, never mind. And then in the meantime, that narcissist's internal battle rages on. But then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and be honest about my needs and be vulnerable about who I want to be and how I can get those needs met. And then the narcissist is going to be someone that's going to be in my rearview mirror. Now, I hope this gives you some good awareness of what you might be dealing with. I know every one of us has some of these circumstances in front of us. So as you're on your learning curve, I hope the videos can help you. Please, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, do so. We'll keep more coming your direction. Many times when you're dealing with something like this, you know that therapy could help. I've had so many people that have said, thank you for referring me to the online therapy, because it's so good to know that somebody out there really wants to know me and understand me and guide me in a very clean kind of way. There's a link to the betterhelp.com website that will provide the online therapy resources for you. So please, if the need is there, go beneath and go through that link and get the help that you need. Also, I have courses that are online, and my courses are very extensive. They're intended to walk you through like an online class. Each course has at least 25 videos, many different discussion points within each course. With guided questions and written material. We have Ready, Set, Connect about how to have healthy connections. This is me about establishing your boundaries well, free to be, finding yourself despite those controllers in your life. Also on my website, we have access to plenty of articles. We have my webinars that are there, which are 90-minute presentations that I've made that are still available. We also have access to the podcast, plenty of articles, lots of resources, my books, etc. Okay, narcissists are very needy people, but they cover it up with their false self. I'm hoping you can see behind that veneer and realize that there's a real human being back there that they don't want to address. Okay, that's fine. They want to foist all of their problems onto you. Thanks, but no thanks. I've got enough on my own plate. I'm available, but I'm not going to take responsibility for someone else's unfinished business. In the meantime, I hope that you can honestly examine who you are and what your needs are and have that healthy vulnerability with the proper people so that you can get yourself to an ongoing path towards steadiness and honesty and ultimately into your place of peace.